take a look at actually physically soldering some components. You can buy these Vero boards, strip boards on eBay, pretty cheap, for a pack of God knows how many for God knows how much. But basically you buy a whole strip of those. You've got these cedar strips on them, like a breadboard, and you can just make some prototypey stuff. Now we're going to have a look at soldering. Have a look at soldering one of those, quite a big, spacious, wide gap capacitor. One of those, little 16 pin, or whatever pin it is, chip, and also a MOSFET as well, or transistor in this package, T18-D32 package. Also some other through-hole stuff. Here's a diode, and here's a smaller, I'm not sure if it's a Zener diode or a signal diode, don't know, couldn't tell you. So basically, fire up the Hakko soldering iron. Not sure if we better see the temperature there. I have mine set to anywhere between 300 and 350, just for general soldering. As you can see on my tip, I just have a standard chisel tip. I'm not sure how this is coming up on the camera, by the way. I'll try and get it to focus. There we go. Yeah, standard chisel tip on this end. I was about to touch it then, I forgot it was on. So, give it a good clean. I'll show you a bit more what the actual tip looks like. Focus. Yeah, so the chisel tip at the end, this end. Yeah, I find them always a bit easier to work with. So let's do the smaller components first. This goes also for resistors that you may have. What I generally do is grab the component as so, and then just bend down following the side of the component, if that makes sense. So you kind of have that sort of thing going on. And we do the same for the smaller diode. So I'll grab one end like so, and then I'll pull down the lead so it naturally bends in sort of that kind of position. So let's do the small one first, shall we? But first I shall grab my solder. I use leaded solder. I do have lead free, but very rarely use it. Very rarely. Right, let's do this small component. So we've got our solder, we've got our board. Obviously you want to trace out where your components are going and how you're having your particular circuit set up, but this is good for practice. So pop in where you'd like your component to go. Let's say there, for example. Yeah. What I generally do, have it this way up, and I bend one of the pins out and leave the other pin that you're going to be solder there. So what I'll do, I'll zoom in for this bit. Let's go down and let's move the camera down a little bit. Actually, you know what? Let's stay there. What I generally do, have your fingers free, like so. Oh, let's get a lot on there, sorry. So the problem with this is a bit tricky going around the tripod, and also it's a bit tricky soldering on the camera viewfinder. So we do heat the pad, and then the component against the component lead, and you fill with the solder. Oh look, it's standing up. You can have your component standing up. Some people do. Allows for better heat dissipation. So if this component is going to get very hot, then it's a good idea to do that. You sometimes see that in power supplies and stuff, especially high, why is this not focusing? High powered stuff, especially. So yeah, this is how I do it. Bottom two fingers, like so. You've got your solder. Bring up to where you can work with. I say sorry, this is a bit fiddly being on camera. And then hold the soldering iron against the pad. Okay. Slight technical issues. So I do like that. Against the pad and the leg. God, this is really hard to do on camera. Against the pad and the leg. Fill with solder so it heats both the pad and the component lead together. The idea is that you have solder flux, which cleans the surface of where you're soldering. So a good idea, you want to clean that area as you solder. You see, like that. Now what you want to do is chop the legs off after. I'm not going to do it just yet, so we do the same again. You might be able to see this a bit better, or you might not. This is a slightly bigger size component, and we'll try and get this actually on and not above the board. What you can do, like so, again, bend the pin that way, which is what I generally do, so that slightly holds the component in place. Bottom two fingers, which is what I generally use, have it pointed down a bit on the solder, fingertip, and then if I can get this one short again, so against the pad and the lead, get the solder worked onto, and it can make its way to the pad itself, like so. Okay, bring the lead back. Let's go from the top down view, shall we, so you can actually see what I'm doing. Let's bend these other pins out of the way. Okay, so as I say, get the light on it, gets the pin, pad, apply the solder, let go and pull up. That's how I generally do. There you go, you've got your second component soldered. Yeah. Let's do a 3-pin. These are quite common. As I say, this is a TO220 package. And let's go right next to these three. Not really going to match, don't really need to make it match. And you can have them standing off slightly, as you can see. There is a slight distance between. These are a bit easier to solder, no need to really bend the pins back. The pins are quite thick and they fit through the holes pretty well. So let's do this on here. And zoom. Let's get that out of the way. So like that. Let's see how we go with that, shall we? Alright. Let's get that over there. So basically, if I put that towards you, what you want to do, you might be able to see my face now, is against the pad and the pin, and then solder to your iron. See that? One. I can't really see very well, but that's the one pin done. If I zoom out for the other, because there's just a little tad difficult. So bottom two fingers, angle the solder down a bit, like so. Can be tricky because I've got a camera in the way, but when you do this on your own, you'll find it might be a little bit easier. So now I'm going to go sideways because the pins are obviously going to be in the way, aren't they? So do like that. Just give a bit of space between. So against the pin and the pad. Okay, it's a complete fail. When people say they're trying to solder off camera, it's difficult. Yes, it fucking is. Right, let's try again. Plus some blinders are back. So I'm going to attempt to do it here. Bit easier. Bit easier. Yeah. And you've got your transistor soldered. Be careful because this metal case of this transistor there does actually link down to one of the pins, so that will get rather hot as you're soldering. Right, let's do this last one because this is really annoying to actually solder. And let's go quite far away, and let's go at an angle because it doesn't fit. Yeah, these quite easily, they're called snapping, so that's snapped in there pretty well. And let's do it that way up, and I think I will zoom in on this one just to show you guys a bit better. Okay. Right, yeah. So, solder. Try and get some light. So, go from the side. You can use your little pinky finger to hold the board so you're going against you pushing with the soldering iron. That's what I ended up to do. On the pad and the pin. And then you want to attach the solder to the soldering iron, leave it for a couple of seconds, bosh. Okay, same again, pad and the pin, apply solder to the soldering iron, and beige boge, you have relatively good solder joints. And then when you've done that, if I, not sure I did with my pliers, so let's do this one. What you can do when you're done, clearly, just get rid of the wire pins. Actually, it's actually really rubbish. I haven't got my pliers to hand, sorry guys. But yeah, you go around, snip the wires, and that's your basic board soldered with your components on. And you can go ahead and make your own boards. As easy as that. As easy as that.